Check out this headline from Bitcoinist: Trump duped into endorsing XRP for crypto reserve. Intriguing, right? Here's the scoop. This story has been making rounds on social media, shared feverishly by Bitcoin maximalists and those plagued with what some call XRP derangement syndrome. But how true is it? Well, the story is real, but there's more to it than meets the eye. The speculation is wild. Why didn't Donald Trump end up backing XRP as part of a crypto reserve? Instead, a different stockpile was promoted, but even that hasn't seen much follow-up since. So what's the deal? What really happened here? Let's break it down. While the toxic Bitcoin maximalists spin their narrative, I'm not entirely sold on their version of events. There's more to this than their overly dramatic takes. And before we dive deeper, let me be clear. I don't have a financial background. This isn't financial advice. Don't buy or sell anything based on what I say or write. Now, let's unravel this mystery together. All right, let's dive into something I'm sure you all remember, the post currently on your screen. This one's from none other than President Donald J. Trump, shared on his platform Truth Social. It's a post that's become pretty iconic at this point. On the morning of March 2nd this year, he wrote, "A U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration. My executive order on digital assets has directed the Presidential Working Group to advance a crypto strategic reserve, including XRP, Solana, and Cardano. I will ensure the U.S. becomes the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again." Let me tell you, seeing this post, even knowing about his connections with Brad Garlinghouse and the like, was still a surreal moment. The sitting president of the United States openly discussing XRP, unbelievable. Just a year ago, it would have been impossible to imagine. Heck, even during his first term, it would have been unthinkable. He was anti-crypto back then, but now a full 180. Trump is all in on crypto, and honestly, it's great to see. He got it right this time. XRP was once in the running to be part of a U.S. crypto reserve until it wasn't. On March 11th, just 9 days after whispers of its inclusion began circulating, the tables turned. Cue the dramatic headline: "Why did Trump's strategic crypto reserve snub XRP?" The crypto world didn't see this twist coming. Ripple, after spending millions on political contributions to bolster XRP's chances, saw its ambitions crumble with the stroke of a pen. An executive order signed by President Donald Trump threw cold water on their dreams, leaving Ripple and its supporters reeling. The hope of elevating XRP to sovereign reserve status vanished just like that. Over the weekend, crypto czar David Sachs dropped the bombshell, sharing the signed document that explicitly excluded XRP. Trump, once intrigued by the idea, had ultimately decided against it. Of course, Ripple's donations to Trump's inauguration weren't just about reserve status. They also played a role in ensuring progress on legal clarity. But this outcome, a bitter pill for Ripple to swallow. So here's the thing. Brad Garlinghouse actually went public about this. He confirmed there were talks of XRP potentially being part of a U.S. reserve. When that news dropped and he shared his post, honestly, I wasn't shocked. I've got some thoughts on what really went down, but I'll get to that in a bit. Let's take it step by step. I need to make sure everyone's caught up first, or the bigger picture won't click when I dive into the fresh details. Oh, and here's the kicker. There's a very real story about Trump feeling like he was being played. Yes, that part is absolutely true. All right, let me dive in a bit more and we'll jump into the details. Here we go. Back on March 2nd, Trump sparked a frenzy by announcing plans to create a crypto strategic reserve featuring XRP. The result? A jaw-dropping 36% surge in XRP's price in just an hour. Crazy, right? XRP hit a peak of what, around $2.80 or $2.90? Briefly, but understandably so. I mean, when the president himself is hyping XRP as part of a U.S. crypto reserve, it's no surprise the market went wild. Oh, and let me tell you, I remember this vividly. It's not in the story, but after that announcement, the Bitcoin maximalists went into absolute meltdown. Outrage everywhere. Then, of course, he clarified. Again, I'm paraphrasing from memory, but he said something like, oh, naturally, Bitcoin and Ethereum would be included too. The fact that Bitcoin wasn't mentioned in the initial post, probably part of the chaos that followed. But let me come back to that point in a moment. Here's where it gets interesting. The reality of the executive order was a complete curveball. Instead of positioning XRP as a coveted reserve asset, Trump labeled it a stockpile asset, essentially putting it on a restricted list. The government can only hold or sell it with no further purchases allowed. The document makes it crystal clear the United States government shall not acquire additional stockpile assets other than in connection with criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings or in satisfaction of any civil money penalty imposed by any agency without further executive or legislative action. Well, that's definitely not what we were expecting based on that March 2nd post, right? A bit of a curveball here. So what actually went down? Once the news broke, I had a feeling, I mean, come on, the Bitcoin maxis lost their minds. And why wouldn't they? You know how they operate. They're diehard maximalists, obsessed with Bitcoin to the exclusion of everything else. No room for other coins in their world. Honestly, they're the most toxic part of the crypto space, the kind of participants that make you question your sanity for being involved. It's exhausting dealing with their relentless one-track mindset. So naturally, we saw the fallout. Strategic Bitcoin reserve, sure, but nothing beyond that. So here's the deal. We're still waiting to see how the whole stockpile situation shakes out. Then boom, this headline drops. Trump tricked into pushing SRP for crypto reserve. Wait, what? Let's dig in because surprisingly, there's some truth to this. Here's the scoop. According to a May 8th Political report, President Trump was reportedly fed a social media post by a lobbyist tied to Ripple Labs. The text suggested he announced a U.S. strategic cryptocurrency reserve, including XRP, Solana, and Cardano. The source, a pro-Trump lobbyist employee who handed him the text on a silver platter. And Trump, well, he posted it. Now let's hit pause for a second. Trump isn't new to the XRP game. He's known about it for ages. He's fully aware that Ripple stands to become a major global player if XRP thrives. So was he really tricked, or did he know exactly what he was doing? Let's be real. He probably knew, and he was likely more than happy to hit post. So here's the deal. Apparently, he's got a solid relationship with Brad Garlinghouse. At least that's what people are saying, right? Naturally, he didn't hesitate to share a post about XRP, Solana, and Cardano. But let's break this down a bit more. It gets interesting. After sharing a message on social media on March 2nd, things took a turn. Trump found out Ripple was one of Ballard's clients, and according to Politico, he was furious. Two insiders said he felt completely blindsided, like he'd been played. Now, let me clarify something here. The issue isn't that XRP was mentioned. It's not like he had no clue what XRP was and just posted it randomly. Nope, he knew. He understands what Ripple is as a company too. The real issue, he felt tricked. He believed in the post and genuinely supported it, but learning about the connection after the fact made him feel deceived. And that's where the frustration lies. He clearly believed what he posted. Why wouldn't he? It's obvious he thought it was true. The real issue here is that a lobbyist with hidden motives pulled the strings and he wasn't clued in on it. Naturally, he felt deceived, which made him take issue with that person. And that's the actual story. This isn't some dramatic banishment of XRP to the wilderness, despite what the Bitcoin maxis are shouting about. Their narrative, completely off base. It doesn't hold water. It doesn't make sense. And there's zero evidence to back it up. What really went down is simpler. After his March 2nd post, he was unfortunately swayed into setting up a strategic Bitcoin reserve. That persuasion led to Bitcoin taking center stage, while things like XRP were shuffled into a separate category. It's as straightforward as that. This isn't just about him being upset with a specific lobbyist. It's a whole other issue. But of course, they're trying to spin it like it's all one big mess because let's face it, some folks can't resist taking shots at XRP. It's like they've been diagnosed with XRP derangement syndrome. And here we are. Now the drama unfolds. After posting to his social media on March 2nd, Trump reportedly found out that Ripple was one of Ballard's clients. Let's just say it didn't sit well with him. According to Politico, citing insiders, the revelation left Trump furious, feeling like he'd been played. He's got no place here anymore, Trump reportedly said about Ballard. Trump's ties to Ripple stretch back well before XRP's inclusion in the proposed crypto reserve. Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Alderoty, made waves by donating over $300,000, 0 cents, to committees backing Trump's 2024 campaign. Both he and CEO Brad Garlinghouse even met with Trump as president-elect in January and attended his inauguration events. So here's the kicker. That $300,000, 0 cents donation, it was an XRP, Ripple's own cryptocurrency. Its value later surged but chances are it was cashed out beforehand. Still, the symbolism of donating XRP itself speaks volumes. Just imagine a digital currency paving the way for political connections. Feel free to fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's true. If I'm wrong, I'll own it. But from what I remember, that's how things went down last summer. Just wanted to clear the air here. Yes, there's truth to this. Yes, Trump was reportedly furious about it, but let's not jump to conclusions. There's zero evidence that this is why XRP has taken a backseat lately. For all we know, he might not have even heard about it until after the decision was made. So let's cut it out with the toxic Bitcoin maximalism, okay? I'd love to see altcoins get some more attention, but even just having a playing field that's somewhat fair is a win for XRP. XRP thrives because it simply gets the job done. No fuss, no gimmicks. When it comes to payments, it's hands down one of the best cryptocurrencies out there. It just works, plain and simple. What sets XRP apart? It achieves what Bitcoin was initially designed for, but can't deliver anymore. A true peer-to-peer cash system. Bitcoin's slow speeds and high costs hold it back, but XRP fills that void effortlessly. As one of the early movers in the crypto space, XRP found its niche and ran with it, gaining real-world adoption along the way. If you're an XRP holder, it's definitely a moment to smile. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't make buying or selling decisions based on what I say. It's always smarter to do your own research.